It is a great honor having you all to this program, Ehiliz Talk Show. Many thanks to God the Creator. Vivid View.
See and do it.
Think like nature. Ask how will nature solve this problem. Say something, somebody.
My name is Helen Alimowa. Think like nature. Ask how nature will solve this problem. Be result-oriented. Don't focus on challenges in all you do and where you find yourself. Have a solution-driven attitude. Thank you.
My name is Ogenesume. Think like nature. Ask how nature will solve this problem. What I understand by this is that you have to be logical, you have to be resourceful, and you have to observe patterns that have worked in the past to create models to solve issues. Thank you.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for those contributions. Think like nature. Ask how would nature solve this problem. To me, it's that there's always a solution to any problem. You know, sometimes when something happens to us, we say, let's allow nature to take its course. Nature does not solve problems through violence. It comes naturally. In every field, there's problem. Are you talking about health? Is it in marriage? Is it at your workplace? There are problems here and there. And in fact, we remain in problem till we die. It's only that that can separate us from problems. It comes from one time to the other. Your problem may not be mine. Mine may not also be yours. So just believe, have that mindset that it's always a solution to any problem. And so when it comes, relax. And then you'll be able to think, how would this problem be solved? So when you are too anxious, when you jump into issues, you know, you will not get the best answer or the best solution to that problem. So nature takes things cool, it takes things easy. Let me say, think and ask how will nature solve this problem. Naturally, things ought to come and go the way it is. No problem can overweigh us if we don't allow it. But when we allow problems to overweigh it, it becomes an issue, really. So we'll stop there for now. The outbreak of cholera and preventive measures is the topic for today's discussion. The guests will introduce after this short break. Please don't go away. Vivid View.
See and do it.
What gives birth to relationship first is love.
Somebody lost his wife, not his first wife. The next question is, why did the first wife die and the second wife die? We have no emotional balance, no emotional control.
Ladies will say, I don't like this man. Why don't you like him? He doesn't beat me. Because my father used to beat my mother.
In Nigeria, we have about 2.2 million people living with disabilities.
Wonderful.
We have the adults who are going through so much stress today, and they can't even have their head up in the society.
You that is bad, you are hitting your wife all the time. Stop beating. Don't turn your wife to punching bag.
Join us every Sunday on Vivid View with Ehiliz.
You see me, they wear native. It is a planner. It's in a fashion. Anywhere they do their enter chop rice.
I know go give up till you go better for me.
Welcome back. In case you're just joining us, the topic again is the outbreak of cholera and preventive measures. And with me in the studio is a medical doctor. Let's make welcome Dr. Francis Adewale.
Vivid View.
Say and do it. Please, before discussion proper, follow us on our social media handles are displayed on the screen. Doctor, you're welcome again.
Thank you.
Please, your introduction, definition, and perspective of the subject matter.
All right. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah.
You know, cholera is a diarrhea disease, and it affects the gastrointestinal system, which is actually your digestive system, you know, in a layman's language.
and it's actually a disease of public health importance. In other words, it does not just concern one person, it concerns the whole community, it concerns the whole nation. And that's why one problem with cholera is actually the country's problem with cholera, and you would understand in a few moments. Now, it's caused by a bacteria called Vibrio cholerae, all right? And this is actually a gram-negative bacteria. It's flagellated and it's rod-like. And the implication of this is that it's transmitted through what we call the fecal-oral route. But watch this. I always say something. We create our environment, but then our environment end up creating us. And that's the challenge with the cholera outbreak that we are having now. It's a preventable disease. It's a treatable disease.
Good.
So why are we having people dying of this thing that is supposed to be preventable and is supposed to be treatable?
Thank you so much for that brief introduction. He's told us that it's a preventable disease and treatable. So why are people dying really? It's a big question. So we'll answer it as we continue. So what are the symptoms and causes of this cholera?
Okay, fantastic. Symptoms and causes.
Yes.
Like I said it's a gram-negative bacteria. Every pathogen would always have what we call a reservoir. A reservoir is actually that ecological niche, that environment that sustains the livelihood of that pathogen.
Okay.
You see, so the reservoir for cholera.
So just as you can have water where mosquito can breed.
Exactly.
Okay.
So the reservoir now for cholera is actually we human beings.
Can you imagine?
We are the main reservoir. You see, and then you cannot talk about water, you cannot talk about maybe plant animals, but we are the main reservoir for this. Now, when I say main reservoir, I'm not just talking about a sick person with cholera.
Okay.
Now, there are three types of people in this category. It's either you are a carrier, all right, or you are what we call a convalescent patient. A convalescent patient is somebody that is already recovered from the cholera.
Okay.
Or you are the sick person yourself. Now, why is this important? Why am I bringing these three things in? This is the reason. For every one symptoms of cholera that you see, there are about 10 different people that have the same cholera but don't have symptoms.
Wow.
For every one cholera stuff that you see, another 10 people doesn't have the symptoms, which means that they don't have symptoms, but they can infect and they can transmit the disease. And so it's important for us to know that when we talk about the reservoir, it's both in a carrier. This is who is a carrier now? Somebody that is not even showing any symptom. All right.
This one now looks worse than COVID, though. Huh? No, the way it is, because we don't take it very lightly.
Yes.
You know, they have been saying it, cholera. There are so many people, they're even here in Lagos, and people don't take it so casually. You can imagine that if you have it, it may not affect you, but it can transmit to somebody else. Is it not worse than COVID? Okay, my brother. Continue.
Thank you so much. So I was talking about this different set of people that are actually reservoir for this disease. Now, they are reservoirs. So how do they transmit? All right. I said it is through the fecal-oral route. What do I mean fecal-oral? It means this bacteria can leave that person or will leave that person through their feces.
Okay.
Are you seeing it now? Now, when it leaves them through their feces, it enters into food or into water sources. So when someone else takes this food or takes this water, it becomes infected. So that's why we said the mode of transmission is through the fecal-oral route. Now, water, whether at its source or maybe through the process of distribution. Food, whether through while you are cooking, maybe you are using a contaminated water to cook, or maybe you are using a contaminated hands, the handling of the food itself can bring in the germs into the stuff. So these are the route of transmission.
The symptoms now.
Now, the symptoms. Now, it's important that you know how this thing works so that you can understand the symptoms. And I would want to, before I even move in, it's like I said, it's a diarrhea disease. So what happens? It affects the intestine of people. So when it gets to the stomach, what it does is it protects itself. It can be as much as billions of this cholera bacteria in your stomach. And then it forms what we call a biofilm in your stomach. So that protects it from the acidic nature of the stomach. Because really, the acidity in our stomach is actually what is responsible for guarding against it, and that's why several people can have it and not have symptoms because they
it's a kind of fighting against it.
Yes,
Okay,
that's our body's mechanism of fighting back the acidic nature. But the bacteria itself also have a way of protecting itself against that through forming what we call a biofilm. You see it. So once it forms the biofilm, it evades the bacterial protective mechanism and then it moves straight into the small intestine.
Okay.
Remember, I said it's a flagellated organism, so it can move. The flagella is responsible for making it move. So when it gets into the small intestine now, it binds. Of course, it has about two different subunits. All right. So it binds to the B subunit part of it, binds to the cells of the small intestine, and so that I won't bore you with medical terms, what that does, is that it causes those cells, those intestinal cells, to open up, and then you start having chloride ions, sodium ion coming out into the intestinal lumen. Once that happens, now think about this. If you pour salt, I don't know if you ever did that, you pour salt maybe on earthworm,
of course,
you see water coming out. So now the cholera itself produces the toxin. So it's the toxin that actually binds, all right, to the cells that causes the opening that I'm talking about. Okay, so once the salt, the sodium and the chloride begins to come out like that, then water follows. Once water follows, what begins to happen is that you begin to have diarrhea. All right, so that kind of diarrhea becomes what we call an osmotic diarrhea, because osmosis, movement of water particles from a region of higher concentration of water to a region of lower concentration of water. So the water begins to move, and this water can be as much as 6 liters of water lost in one day. Now, the normal amount of water we take in normally is not even up to 4 liters.
Yes.
So you can imagine losing 6 liters in one day. That's why it is a potential disease that threatens people's life. That's why it kills.
So the person will be dehydrated instantly.
A lot of dehydration. So now, and you see, while the water is coming out, I'm trying to drive us to the symptoms. All right. So while the diarrhea is coming out, it also begins to take down with it the mucus lining of the intestine. So you begin to see a diarrhea that look like rice water. And that's why the diarrhea is called a rice water stool, because of the small mucus, that moves with it. You see, so we begin to have a rice water stool, which is painless. And then when that begins to happen, there's a whole lot of diarrhea. You've lost a lot of water. So you begin to see two things: symptoms of dehydration and then symptoms of circulatory shock.
Which one circulatory shock?
I'm going to explain. Now you have lost water.
Yes.
All right. Now, once you have lost water like that, that means the way the body functions, your heart is supposed to supply all the different parts of your body, all right, with food through the blood. Now that you have lost water, the heart is not able to do that kind of work again. It's not efficient, all right.
We lose water and mucus, as you mentioned now.
Yes.
Not just one, Abi.
No, that is what has come out.
Okay.
We are talking about the body itself now, all right. The water that is lost is supposed to be working in the body, but it has been lost.
Yes.
So where does it put the body itself now? In a circulatory shock. It's not getting enough that it's supposed to get. You understand? So you begin to see two symptoms. Like I said, I've just categorized them into two: symptoms of dehydration and symptoms of circulatory shock. Now, what are the symptoms of dehydration? You begin to see sunken eye. Your eyes become sunken. It goes inward, like, this person, are you fasting? What's happening to you? And it can happen in a short period of time, because the incubation period of cholera is between 2 hours to 5 days. So you can take something, contaminated water now, and in the next 2 hours, you're already producing, you're already symptomatic. Yes. Now, what are the symptoms of circulatory shock that you have? You begin to have cold extremities.
Cold?
Yes, your fingers become cold. You see, you begin to have what we call hypotension. And then you begin to have what we call increased heart rate, tachycardia. Remember that as the person was losing salt, sodium, chloride, and electrolyte.
Yes.
So the loss of electrolyte now will also produce fatigue, will also produce muscle spasms in the person's body, muscle ache in the person's body. So these are different symptoms that the person shows. Now, once there is shortage of blood going to the kidney, it begins to lead to what we call acute kidney injury.
Fatigue means being weak.
Weak, yes.
So that they will understand, like I told you.
Yes.
Okay.
And begin to have what? Acute kidney injury. So people that, especially when it is untreated, they end up having acute kidney injury. You wonder why people easily die of these things. It's because of the implication of loss of water.
Yes.
You know. So these are all the different symptoms.
And water is very good for the kidney to function well. We need to take a lot of water.
70% of our body is actually even water.
You see? You know why I say let us also discuss this thing? Because sometimes we have this cholera, we think say just not ordinary belly. Belly purge person go finish now. It's not ordinary belly purge with what we are hearing now. Using the layman language anyway. It's not just it. So we have learned, and I know we will go home and see how we can put our environment okay and do the needful. Because it's preventable and it's also treatable. We'll take a break now. Vivid View.
Say and do it.
Welcome back. We are still treating the outbreak of cholera and preventive measures. And with me here is Dr. Francis actually doing justice to this topic so that everyone will understand and maybe know the preventive measures to take in your homes and anywhere you go. We'll come to that so that he has already told us that it's transmittable. So let's learn and know more how we can actually avoid it. So that takes me to say the implications of cholera, what are they? And who are most susceptible to cholera?
So what are people susceptible? Now, when you look at the present data in Nigeria, okay, from January till now, really, we've had about 2,802 suspected cases, all right? And of them, I think about 80 plus have actually died, all right? Now, of this, I'm giving this statistic to explain the people that are susceptible. We realize that both the susceptible cases and the deaths are more in children less than 5 years old. See it now. Children less than 5 years old. And of course,
because they can pick anything and eat.
No, it's because they don't even have a lot of water. Their volume, they are small. So when they lose water, it means a lot. Diarrhea disease in children means a lot. You can't take it lightly. You can't take it lightly. And so that's why they are more susceptible as children. And of course, elderly people are more susceptible. Why are they more susceptible? Because as they grow older, there's something we call hypochlorhydria. It means reduction in the amount of acid production in the stomach as we grow old. So and that is supposed to be the mechanism through which the body fights this disease.
Yes.
So as you grow old, when this thing comes in, you are most likely to come down with it because your acid is already going down. So the elderly are even much more susceptible too. So we have the children less than 5, we have the elderly, and then we have people that are treating peptic ulcer. Because the people that are treating peptic ulcer are using drugs that is reducing the amount of acid content in their stomach. They're also more susceptible to this disease.
We'll take a break now. Vivid View.
Say and do it.
Welcome back. We are still treating the outbreak of cholera and preventive measures. I'm in shock myself listening to all these ones because I'm not a medical person. Ask me how to count money and I will tell you that's my field, accounting. But this one, what he's saying is it put me into shock because we don't even have idea of what we don't think cholera is just belly purge and all that. Look at those people that are more exposed to it. That's what I mean by being susceptible. Those who are more exposed to it, the little children from 5. And not only that they pick anything and eat, but because the content of water in their body is also small because of their age. And then the elderly ones that are also growing older, they may not even take water so much, and because of their age too, the number of water in their quantity of water in their body has also reduced. So it's a serious sum to know. Initially, I said, is it not this one worse than the COVID will run up and down, shut down and all that? You see, more than over 2,000 now, he said now, over 80 are already gone. So please, let's take this seriously, especially as it's treatable and preventable. So that takes me to another one now. So what are the preventive measures now put in place and how can we tackle it?
Remember I said it's of public health concern.
Yes.
Now, when you talk about public health, what are the things that makes it up? Number one, we want to talk about refuse disposal, all right? We talk about sewage disposals, all right?
Yeah.
We talk about access to clean water and potable water, right? You talk about control of disease, And then you talk about even the agencies that, you know, organizations that are put in place to make all of these things work. All right. So when you talk about preventive measures put in place, these are the things that we'll look into. You know, first of all, I needed to say that what we are doing right here is a preventive measure.
Passing the knowledge to people.
Yes.
Yeah, because knowledge is power,
Yes.
they say. Good.
Generally, we talk about 3 stages of prevention, which is one of which is primary prevention. And it's under that primary prevention, we talk about awareness programs like this.
Exactly,
so that's why I said it's a preventive measure. Okay. I think we should give ourselves a round of applause.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. So now I said refuse disposal. So what's the problem? You notice that, you need to know that cholera is actually endemic in this part of the world, which means that we record cases every now and then. However, what we had from June till now is what we call an outbreak. So we had cases that exceeded the expected on a normal day. That's actually what happened. It's not as if we've not been having this since January.
Yes,
I just quoted you the number of cases we've had from January till date. So what has happened? Remember, I said it is fecal oral. So when you pass out stool, where are you supposed to pass it? So let's assume you've passed it somewhere, and you are also supposed to have a source of drinking water. So anything that causes your source of drinking water to collide with your sewage disposal, there will be contamination. And that is where the problem is coming from. So if you are going to prevent it, those are the things that we need to take into consideration.
Yes. You must separate the whatever it is, the pipe or whatever, I don't know.
So you must so the word will be proper sewage disposal.
Exactly.
You know, we need proper sewage disposals. In this part of the country, we see a lot of open defecation everywhere. Yeah. That is one of the things. I mean, how can you just defecate where even flies can even pick up
and go and dump on somebody's food?
Drop on somebody's food and all that. So proper sewage disposal is one thing. All right. We must also talk about our access to clean and potable water.